We're in. We're on. We're going. I think it's working. Shaboom. Alrighty. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Houston with a Problem. This is the 100th show. I failed miserably. I was going to try and have a guest on for today, and I went skiing instead. So welcome, everybody. And I'm sure you're looking at the markets right now that are just bloody, just absolutely just blood-soaked mayhem that just continues to just pummel. GameStop's down to $88. Cost is down to $7. Meta Materials at $1.58. Microsoft's down to $281 from a $340 high. B-Big's back down to $267. Who else is absolutely just got hammered in the pooper today? AMC's at 14. Goodness gracious. Blackberry's at 7. Bed Bath & Beyond is like the only green thing on any list I have. And they're only slightly green. Every bank, every blue chip, everything is in the absolute toilet. Bitcoin's at 34. Ethereum's at 2,200. It's just a red day. Absolutely. But you know what that means? That means assets under management are being hit really hard, and someone's getting margin called at some point. If it hasn't happened already, it's happening really soon. But due to the massive sell-off of crypto, we're looking at $1 billion in wallets have been completely vaporized in sales, and that's probably because hedge funds are using that billion in cash to generate another 30 billion or so in margin to keep hammering down the meme stocks. And as long as they can keep hammering down the meme stocks along with assets under management, then that 30-to-1 ratio keeps doing its thing. And they stay within that margin. But if when they run out of cash of margin to keep hammering that stock down, and the buy pressure starts to go back up again, then they're in the wildlands, and I don't think they have much. I don't think they have any ammo left to combat that. So we are in sort of uncharted territories at the moment. Yeah, well, that's what we got. So anyway, I don't think I have anything else to add beyond that. So start talking to me, folks. What you got? Yes, it's the 100th show. That's pretty exciting that we're doing the 100th show out here in Cloisters. Got a little bit. It's a little dark. It's dark time out there. Reminder: tomorrow is our big charity show. We're going to try and raise money for the Hunga Tonga volcano victims. That'll probably be later. We're going to go see some pretty mountains on a train, and then probably I don't know what time is it now. It is 5 hours later than the show will be when we premiere that sucker. So look for that tomorrow. And until then, let's see what's on your minds, everybody around the world. Okay. Mo Neal thought I was going to miss double-digit sales last week. Buying today. Hooray for the sale. Yeah. I did pick up a UVXY call today because the last time the market took a dip, UVXY shot to $900 a share, and that call would be like an $80,000 lotto ticket. So I bought one. See where it goes. My guess is it will keep going up as long as the market keeps going down. Where are we now on that? It's up a little bit from where I bought because the market's still going down. But VIX, if you're buying VIX calls, not financial advice. If you're buying VIX calls, that's the play. That's what the hedge funds are going to be doing with everything going red like this. Is that they're going to be buying puts on the SPY, calls on the VIX, and rocking and rolling from there. That's how they hedge their bets, man. Meow meow. Have you heard of 2,4-dinitrophenol? It melts fat and cooks your insides. It's a wood dye and explosive. No, but you have my full and undivided attention. Heard of 2,4-dinitrophenol? Dinitriphenol. I'm gonna have to look that up. I don't have any pens with me. Dinitriphenol. Okay, I'm gonna look that up. It's a wood dye and explosive. No, meow meow. That is completely random, and I dig it. Dinitriphenol. Dinitriphenol. Yeah. Come on, click, go, scroll. There we go. Karen Mirza, what's your take on where we stand? I think where we stand is that we are in sort of an Alamo type situation. The hedge funds are locked away at the Alamo. We are Santa Anna and his entire army. They're just like, oh, just give up already. They're doing a last stand. They dumped all of their crypto. They've dumped some of their blue chips. I mean, there's no reason Netflix should have crashed 20% in a matter of hours, unless they're trying to drum up cash. And they're using that cash to meet liquidity requirements and to keep their margin rather inflated, at least give them a buffer. And they're going to use a chunk of that margin to continue to short and hammer down these stocks, despite the fact that you and I and everyone else, we're going out there and we're buying more. The buy pressure is there, but it's not being reflected because they're flooding the market with more synthetics. And those counterfeits are diluting the price. But what we will see is just an insane number of FTDs, I think. And those FTDs are going to be a symbol that all they've done is dug their hole deeper. And we are sort of sitting here knowing what the inevitable is. And once they've sold off their Bitcoin and all their other crypto and a bunch of their blue chips, there's not going to be much more cash for them to play with. Where are they going to get the billions they need to be able to do that? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know where they're going to get the billions for that. So they're going to run out eventually. And with the way that the Chinese bond market's going, that's just eviscerating assets under management for a lot of these folks. And it's going to be a chain reaction throughout the whole market. How exactly it will unfold will be something that historians unravel, but it's not good. It's not good to see trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars in bonds just kind of evaporate into the ether. Tunji Afanja, hope I said that right. You mentioned that as GME gets to seven figures, buy demand drops. What about the impact of fractional shares? What if millions of FOMO investors spend 100 for fraction shares for 0.001 shares of GME when it's at 100,000 bucks, hoping it will go to $1 million? There might be some of those folks. I don't think that the buy pressure will vanish as it gets to seven figures. I think it's going to change from retail, who will get in for cheap, and then there'll be the forced buying of the hedge funds, or not to the hedge funds will be liquidated by then, but the trading computers who are closing out their positions. That's where the buying pressure is going to be. There'll be some FOMO that'll probably happen up to $1,000 a share, but once you get past $1,000 a share, that's going to be a margin call land, and not too many folks are going to be dropping big bills on a stock at $1,000 that is a squeeze play. Because a lot of the folks who would be FOMOing into this, they would see $1,000 and go, "Oh crap, that's a lot of money. I don't want to be the one holding the bag at $1,000." Not realizing that the entire point of this whole play is that it's going to go to 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14, 15, 900 figures. And that's the core. That's the core unit of us who are in on this play. So but there might be some folks, messing with fractional shares. There's some weird things. Like 6 months ago, I was in a Discord group where they were discovering that they could buy, 1/100th or 1/1000th of a GameStop share at a penny. I think it was 1/100th at a penny, and it was half the price of what GameStop was currently going for. And so they had set up some sort of algorithm on Robinhood or something where they're just buying nothing but 1/100th of a share for a penny over and over and over and over and over and over and over, and they're immediately making like 40% on their investment. So that's pretty cool. I don't know if Robinhood ever put a stop to that, but they just do that 100 times. You got yourself a share for $100 when that time was worth, I think, like 140 or something. Right now, they're probably losing money on that. because it's worth a little less. But that just has to do with it that you can't get any smaller than a penny, so the rounding in the computer system mess with it that way. But I do think that fractional share sales will probably be the peak. Someone who sells a fractional share, they'll probably sell it for the equivalent of millions of dollars a share during that peak of that big buying bonanza. So, yeah. But excellent question there. Okay. Tabitha Timbuktu Houston, are you going to invest in Booba? No? Probably not. Always on. They have to be close to assets being gone. I think a lot of them are. It depends on which ones were smart and invested a bunch of money into crypto. The hedge funds that didn't jump on the crypto bandwagon, they don't have any cash to play with because they didn't have anything to liquidate and to meet liquidity requirements. So right now, a lot of those guys might be quaking. Meow meow. In the squeeze situation, does algorithmic trading kick in and add to the squeeze? Will short algorithms short on the way up to counter? Well, the hedge funds that are going to be facing liquidation, right? The ones that went all in on shorting all the meme stocks and what's in the XRT, those guys will no longer once they get liquidated, they no longer have a say. So none of their algorithms will work because their computers won't work. They will not be able to make a single trade because the prime brokers and the banks will be doing all the trading for them, or the DTCC computers. And essentially, those hedge funds, the minute that happens, they will cease to exist. So everyone who works there will no longer have a job, and all the folks, all the rich people who invested in those hedge funds will no longer have any money. They're done. And so all of their liability transfers over to the next level up, which are the prime brokers, the investment banks, and the DTCC, and they're going to be doing nothing but doing the buying. Now, that being said, there may be short hedge funds that smell blood in the water, and they may start to jump in. Because if you are totally fine, a hedge fund, like you are a hedge fund that did not make any plays into GME, and you see GME starting to go for 10, 20, 100,000, $1 million a share, and you get a whole bunch of liquidity, you can short the hell out of that stuff at a huge number, and then when it drops back down, make some of the biggest plays of the entire year. So you may see some of that happen from hedge funds on the complete other side of the spectrum, because why not? If you can, buy a put on GameStop at $1,000 a share and it's on its way down, then you're going to make a whole bunch. So there's probably lots of plays that are going to be going that way. I'd be curious to see how the competing hedge funds who stayed away from shorting all these meme stocks, from basically doing these short attacks, what their response is going to be when the squeeze comes, when the MOASS happens. I'm really curious. I'm sure that there's some of them that have had meetings, bulked up their teams, and they're just sitting and waiting as well. Because why not? Why not short the stock when it's at $1 million a share? Because it's gonna, when the squeeze is over, it's gonna drop. It's a guaranteed drop. So it will plummet down to 300 a share, whatever it might bottom out at when it's all said and done, and you will have that $9,900,900 or $700 profit margin on each one of those shares you shorted. So that's pretty awesome. Okay. Hey, Gary Gensler changed the NFL overtime rules. I haven't had a chance to see any of the games, so I just keep seeing on Twitter people going, "Oh no!" and I don't know what they're talking about because I haven't been able to see any of the games out here. Apparently in Germany they watch a lot of the games, but I'm not in Germany. Darren, hi, Houston. Is this genuinely the dip before the rip? I think it may dip further. We may see it dip further because $1 billion. Remember, 30 to 1. Ratio for margins. So if they generate $1 billion, that gives them $30 billion they can use to hammer things down. So when Citadel got the 1.15 billion from Sequoia and whatchamajigger, that again gave them over 30 billion in margin they can use to hammer the stock down. So between the dumping of crypto, the cash that generated, and the dumping of Netflix, the cash that generated, and the cash investment into Citadel, the hedge funds at Citadel as a group might have $60 billion plus to use as margin to hammer the stock down. Because remember, as long as the assets under management are dropping and they can keep the value of the meme stocks dropping as well, then that 30 to 1 ratio stays in place. But the minute they run out of cash to keep shorting this thing, it's going to go right back up again, and all of a sudden their ratio is going to explode beyond the 30 to 1 limit, and that's when margin calls are going to happen. This is very much a Hail Mary for them. And they have to hope that this dip in the market, this correction, is quick and over with soon, because if it keeps going, they're going to run out of ammo, and all of a sudden the price on the meme stock is going to rise, and the value of assets under management are going to keep dropping, and there's going to be a big disparity there. And that disparity is what we want. Yes. So that's what we're looking for. Hope that helps. Okay. And of course, the chat reset again for like the 100th time, and it is so annoying. Where is that? Okay, there it is. Okay. Dip for the rep question. There we go. All right. They still have their yachts they can sell. I mean, that's what Evergrande was ended up doing, is they sold their entire fleet of private jets, and that, didn't even cover 1 month of their interest on their bonds. So liquidation is desperation. When someone's getting liquidated and all they have left is like the office furniture, it's over. They cease to exist. Okay. Chad Clifford, Houston, do you think GME is a good buy right now, not financial advice? Well, I mean, I do think they have the power to short it even further. And, they may keep doing it as long as they got that cash on hand. As long as they have that margin, they're going to keep shorting. So I wouldn't doubt if they're really going to try to hammer the price down. And so, it may go lower. We'll see. We'll see how this week goes. They managed to keep a lot of those call options out of the money on Friday, so we're not going to have any gamma this week as a result. And the price is almost down. We're almost down 10%. We're close to it, I think. Which we're down 10. Oh, we're down over 10%, I think. Yeah, we're down 19. So we're on SSR, which means any shorting that's happening is happening from ETFs. So I'd look at the ETFs and see what ETFs they're just continuing to short, which XRT was at 720% short interest, which, they might crack 1,000 if this is the case. Because there's only like 6 million XRT shares. So they really have to just invent a bunch of them. And there's no reg show involved with ETFs. So they can do whatever they want. And then if the market maker is flooding the market with these shorts, and those synthetics are tied to some sort of equity swap with a hedge fund, then there's no reporting going on there, and they're still not violating the SSR rules. What's happening now is blatant disregard for the intent of the laws that we have, and are most certainly, they should be illegal. They should not be allowed to do any of this. And so here we are, watching them do their thing and watching them absolutely just hammer us. We dropped below $87. We're at $86.95 on GameStop, which is just a screaming deal. I mean, it's well below what my current average cost is right now. I got into like 40, and then I kept buying whenever I had a chance. So my average cost is like 142 right now, so we're below that. It's a wild ride, baby. It's a wild, wild ride. Oops. Another meow meow. What blend of catnip were people smoking to think Netflix was worth $300 billion? The 1997 dot-com bubble. I mean, Netflix, everyone has a Netflix service, or every household subscribes to it. But I don't think there's enough money generated Netflix to pay for the number of shows that they're greenlighting. If you do quick math on, because I can't bring up the calculator, I don't know how to do any of this crap with this OBS system I have on this laptop. But, let's say there's 100 million Netflix subscribers, right? So you got 100 million, and which might be a little generous worldwide, and they're all paying $19.95 a month. So they're looking at almost $2 billion a month. And that's $23 billion in revenue each year, which I think is way below what they actually are making right now. And if they have, I don't know, Eric, give me a guess. How many shows do you think Netflix produces themselves?
I have no idea. Dozens, per year probably.
Yeah. So, the big shows, they're costing $100 million an episode. And there are 8 to 13 episodes in each one of those suckers. And there's every demographic across the board, from children's shows to shows for Hispanic folks, for shows for Black Americans, for shows for Israel, Germany, UK, big budget sci-fi, romance. I mean, to be what they want to be, they have to be every single solitary network that ever existed, kind of all together. And I wouldn't doubt if their costs are far more than what the revenue is, and they're just losing money. That being said, they were one of the few blue chips keeping the NASDAQ afloat. There was like 5 blue chips keeping the NASDAQ from just dropping in the gutter, and they're all getting hit really hard right now. And Microsoft is one of them. Microsoft is in the middle of a $60 billion buyback program. They're desperately trying to keep their stock price afloat, and it's dropped $80. Where are you? I was just looking at you. Where are you? Microsoft. Yeah, Microsoft's down. Yeah, $62 from their recent peak, and that does not bode well for the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ's having its worst beginning to a year since 2008, which let me think about that. 2008, what happened in 2008? Oh yeah, $2 trillion in mortgages has evaporated. And now we've got $13 trillion in Chinese corporate and municipal bonds about to evaporate. So this may end up being 3, 4, 5 times what the mortgage crisis was. Left hand wave. Happy birthday, Houston. Happy birthday, left hand wave. Oh, that's my right hand. Left hand wave. All right. Oh, he's working on bolognese. It smells so good. Best part about coming here to visit my friends and go skiing is, the skiing in the mountain is fantastic, but they're good cooks and they just feed me wonderful food that I would never make myself. It's magical. Homemade pizza, goulash, raclette. It's so good. Every single bit of it. Billy Miles, something's up when you and Marcel's on it right now, probably saying the same things I am, that these guys, their time is running out. They only got so much time, and it's running out, man. This is last gasp. Last gasp for sure. Yeah, Daphne, Black Monday. Pretty much, it's, what's the Dow at right now? Dow Jones. We're down 1,000 on Dow Jones. 3.24%. Goodness gracious. That's a big percentage drop for a single day. I bet the Nasdaq's probably down similar or more. Nasdaq. Show me the Nasdaq. Nasdaq's down 4.77%, almost 5%. That is some bad news. That's why they had to hammer GameStop down 19. You know, if your assets under management are all down 4 or 5%, you got to take that stuff that's on margin. You got to hammer it down even more. So that stuff's down 19%, 20% for some of them. Cost is down 10. Metamaterials down almost 10. How much is Microsoft? Microsoft's down 5.7 today. Yeah, the only way they can keep that stuff from triggering margin is if they keep all of these short plays hammered down as well. And AMC down 20% also, 19.2. They're just hammering. I really wish I had bought some puts. That would make me a little happier. Okay. Just from Dex, do you think the SEC passes that transparency rule for short positions this week? I think that's a game changer. I think it really is a game changer because they're going to have to lay on the table what they're short on. And not just the folks who borrowed, but the folks who naked short. They got to show their positions. And, the shorts are going, oh, it's going to make it not competitive. Just the opposite, man. It's going to make it very competitive because everyone's going to see what you're doing and know exactly where those short squeezes are going to play. So you're going to have hedge funds against hedge funds. And I think the short hedge funds are going to lose in the end. Just like, well, they are going to lose in the end. That's just what's going to happen. John Donson, oi, Houston, what's the main difference between GMG and all the other unregulated graphene scam stocks? Well, GMG is part of the University of Queensland, so they are big time. They are part of a giant university that owns the intellectual property. They have Bosch building them a giant mega plant so they can start producing batteries. Their batteries have been tested and proven, and they're going to be coming to market within 18 months. So that's what GMG's got going for them. There's a couple other solid state battery, what they call them, supercapacitors that tech out there, but I don't think they've got the tooling to quite do what they promised to do yet. But I'm sure folks are working on that because there's going to be a lot of money for the supercapacitors, especially if it means we don't have to mine lithium and cobalt and other things that have to go into these lithium-ion batteries because it's just aluminum and carbon. That's all they are. And we've got plenty of aluminum out there and nothing but carbon everywhere. So once you've got the technology to lay down those graphene layers and make them very precise and concise, and you put in the aluminum impurities, then you got yourself a nice solid state supercapacitor battery. And that's going to be the future. You can have 10 to 12 times the energy density per kilogram without any of the cooling systems involved or the fire hazards. That will be the real game changer, and that's the stuff that's going to make it so that internal combustion engines are basically used only in collector cars and race tracks, maybe. It will go the way of the horse and buggy. 50 years from now, it'll be only a specialized few weirdos that know how to work on those engines, and no one else is going to know. Like, what is this antiquated, weird claptrap? What is this, farm equipment? Yeah, those solid-state batteries, they are the future. Resident Flea, Houston, I'm glad you're enjoying vacation. I am. It is so wonderful. This is like, every day is just magical. Buying the GME dip little by little, loading up. Your thoughts about if the squeeze will happen first quarter 2022? So that's the war we're in. Do they have enough margin generated from that cash infusion they got from selling off crypto, selling off Netflix, and they got from the venture capital guys, Sequoia and the other one. I keep calling it Pinnacle, but I don't think it's Pinnacle. It's whatever it is. if that 60 or so billion dollars in margin is enough to keep hammering us down longer than the market keeps dropping. If they keep going down together, then those guys are going to be fine. But if they keep going down, 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 and then the margin side, they run out of cash, and the price is going back up while everything else is going down, and then that ratio gets really big, and then there's no more cash. They're out. They sold off all their crypto. Nothing left but to sell their blue chips and be liquidated. Even then, those assets of management are a fraction of what their margin is. We're looking at, family funds alone have $7 trillion in margin. Is that what the stat? I can't remember. Someone sent me an article about family funds. And family funds, I think, are the dark horse in this. We know about the big boys, the Melvins and the .72s and the Citadels and those guys. But there are trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars of family funds that don't have to do any reporting whatsoever, who are just barely hanging on, I think, right now. And those may be what pushes everything over the edge, is those family funds. Because the only folks who know what those plays are the investment banks who lent their margin. And none of us, no one else, no regulators, no one knows just how on the brink they are. And they're huge. There's so much money there. And I wouldn't doubt if a lot of those family funds bought up a bunch of those Chinese bonds. Because why not? Invested in China. China has 8% growth year over year. Why not do it? And yeah, we're a big giant spider web. And we're the spider sitting there with our little 8 legs on all the little tendrils, and we feel a big old bug go sploink, and it's just rocking the entire web. We see it, and we're like, oh, I'm going to eat you. But then when another one goes sploink, we're like, oh, man, I'm going to eat you too. And then a big old hummingbird hits it, you're like, oh, buddy. We can feel it. We can feel it in the web right now, and we know we're going to get them. We're going to eat them up. Nom, 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 nom. Just a swarm of spiders. Retail spiders eating a ball. Okay. Another dinitriphenol. Melts fat, cooks, whatever. All right. Hey, I'm only 20 minutes behind in the chat here. Project Sun, did you see that Dow Group bought a Dune movie concept NFT thinking they bought the rights to produce the content? Yeah, those guys. I don't know if you heard about it, but this Dow Group that, they make NFT stuff, they bought concept art to a Dune television show that never got made. And they thought that by spending 2.2 million pounds, like $4 million on this book, they gave them the rights, the intellectual property rights to Dune, not realizing at all that Frank Herbert's children actually control the intellectual property of Dune. And they were like, oh, we're going to make a TV show. No, you're not, because you just bought a book for $2 million. You did not buy, if I went out and I spent $2 million on a copy of Harry Potter, it does not give me the rights to Harry Potter. I don't know what those folks were thinking. It's going to be another, Frank Herbert died in, 94? So we got another 42 years until the trademark is up on that sucker. And then you can Dune all you want. You can Dune it everywhere. Yes, the Alamo lost. That's why we are Santa Ana, and they're the Alamo. they are the what do we call them? The David Crockett and those guys. What do they call themselves? The Volunteers, Tennessee Volunteers, or whatever. Okay. Project Sun, pumping everybody up there. Thank you so much. Do, 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 do. Ricky Bobby, Jimmy under $100. Help us, Houston. Help us. Help yourself, man. Buy some more. Average down while you can. I mean, this stuff is still shorted like crazy. We are still the entire buying pressure, where none of us are selling, which means they aren't closing any of their positions. And yeah, that's where we are. We are just. How's it going? How's it going? Ooh, my VIX just screamed. I just doubled my money basically on my VIX call. Nice. Yeah. Not too shabby. I'll take it. Keep dying, market. Keep going down. This one VIX call could basically pay for a year of travel if that thing goes the way I think it will go, and I would enjoy it very much. Okay. Michael Harrow, I have 0.010174 of a GME stock. Good for you. Double it. Girlfriend stock blocking me. Damn it. We have lost enough. Oh my God, I'm so pissed off. Well, I mean, as long as you've got some, you are there to make that play, right? So if you want to average down, you can average down. But you already got some, right? So you're good. Wait, where was someone asked a question? Oh, Liz Clayman's whistle. Why are there interstate highways in Hawaii? Because the interstate highway system was designed before there was a Hawaii. Eisenhower designed the system when there was only the lower 48. Alaska and Hawaii were not states back then. And so what ended up happening was the interstate designation was for the type of freeway that it is. Interstate freeways, they go east-west, which they're even numbers if they go east-west. North-south are odd numbers. And then three-digit freeways are generally ring roads that go around cities that basically take suburb to suburb around cities. So like in Seattle, you got I-5 and then 405 goes around them, and I-90 goes east-west. You can get down to places like California where you have a whole, like LA, you have a whole bunch. You got I-40, I-10, I-15, I-5, and the 405 all in 110. So like you have I-10 and you have the 110 that goes around. You got I-5, you have the 405 that goes around. You have the 115 that kind of goes off the hinterland. The 40 and the 10 go east-west. So in Hawaii, there's H1, H2, H3 because in Oahu there's this small little island, and so H1, H2, H3 basically go in and out of Honolulu where the big city is. And so it's the type of freeway system it is, government funded, freeway, on-ramps, off-ramps, no stoplights, and they can never have stoplights on them. Whereas your regular national highways, like Route 66, 101, Highway 20, like those highways, they can have moments where they are freeways, where there's on-ramps and off-ramps, but there are also stoplights along the way and other type of interchanges. And that makes them not interstate qualifiers. So there you go. Interstate highways will never have a stoplight, and other federal highways can. Meow meow. The interstate system cut through and obliterated many low-income communities because the wealthy said, no way, not here. Oh, yeah. Also, in the low-income places, the homes were cheaper. So it was much cheaper for the government to eminent domain those poor neighborhoods and just eviscerate entire neighborhoods that way. And you'll notice that there's all sorts of things that are associated with these interstate freeway systems. So they usually just blew through poor neighborhoods, minority neighborhoods, to build these things because it's the cheapest way to build it. And those folks, they don't have the legal authority or power to stop such developments and to combat the eminent domain. And the folks that were designing it, they lived in neighborhoods they wanted to be serviced by the highway, not have the highway cut through their homes. And even today, those highways, there is a very there's a correlation between health and folks who live next to highways. So if you are in California and you live next to the Santa Monica Freeway, I-10, and you will have worse health outcomes than somebody that's several blocks away from that highway. Now, some of the correlation I think is from exhaust fumes and hard carbons and soot and sulfurs that come off of the vehicles in those places. But it also could be attributed to the fact that you're going to be paying less to live next to a highway than you are to have a buffer from the highway. And if you are paying less, you're probably already low income. And if you're low income, you're going to have a worse diet because you aren't going to be buying organic vegetables and eating organic grass-fed, beef or whatever. And so you're going to have a higher fat, higher sugar diet. And so, it's half dozen one, six the other. But yeah, think about that. Monial. Did I say that right? Monial? Moniacal. Does Ryan C. Loopring Buddies still have to announce the thing? Any known or expected dates? No dates of GME earnings, plans, or the thing we are waiting for. So I thought everything was going to happen January 30th or December 31st, but apparently GameStop has an offset quarter, and the quarter actually ends January 31st. So if their quarter 4 ends January 31st, they're still in that window to make an announcement about Marketplace. And then the earnings call is... crap. When is the earnings call? It's like March 8th or something for quarter 4. Somebody can check that for me and pop that in there. I think their fourth quarter earnings call is somewhere in like the first week of March. So, we're waiting for stuff. I am sure GameStop's going to have a nice, big, profitable fourth quarter. They spent much of quarter 3 buying warehouses and making sure they had stuff in stock to combat the supply chain problems we have. So prior to COVID, we pretty much got everything on demand. So you would have an order, I need 100 keyboards, 100 keyboards sent. I need 100 mice, I need 50 game consoles, and they would just flow from the manufacturer, and you didn't need warehouse space. It saved a ton of money in warehousing. But because of the supply chain issues, we don't know when things are going to arrive. So stockpiling has become a big thing. So if you are somebody who has buildings in a warehouse district, you're probably getting rich right now because all of these retailers need warehousing. A lot of the manufacturers need warehousing now. They are stockpiling stuff because the supply chain is no longer dependable. And you got to get what you can while you get it, stick it on a shelf somewhere, and then you have it when you need it. And so GameStop spent $500 million on basically constructing giant warehouses and loading up on retail goods so they could have those available for their stores and for their online sales. And I don't think that they're going to have those same costs in this fourth quarter. Plus, it was Christmas, and that's when everybody goes green. So I expect a good earnings call for the fourth quarter. Meow meow. Poor health next to highways is probably because they took the lead out of gas. Gas used to smell awesome because it was healthy. So there's another weird, interesting corollary. Gun deaths in the U.S. So gun deaths in the U.S. peaked in the early 90s. The gang wars were happening in lots of inner cities, tons of drive-bys, just tons of murders happening. And in the early 90s, all of a sudden they dropped off by like 1994 to start just in free fall. And most major cities have a fraction of the murders now that they had 25, 30 years ago. And a lot of people think it was the assault weapons ban or the Brady bill that did it, but it also could very well be the fact that we took lead out of gasoline around the same time. And if you don't know about lead, if it gets into your bloodstream, it makes you a dummy, makes you a big dummy, and your emotional intelligence gets stunted incredibly. And so, the Brady bill and assault weapons ban combined with taking lead out of the gasoline finally probably cleared up a lot of heads. And since gangs are dominated by the youth, and the youth are the ones mostly affected by lead, more so than adults are because they're developing, and those gangs all of a sudden, might have been more apt to like talk things over rather than fight. I don't know, but it's correlation doesn't necessarily lead to causation, so it might be a combination of those things, the gun bills and let out of the gasoline, or it might be one or the other. But they're both very likely. Don't eat lead. That's what I say. Okay. Oh, Sears is green right now? Yeah, Bed Bath & Beyond, and let's see which one Sears is in. Schwab. Schwab always takes forever to load. Schwab is my all my garbage OTC stocks I do with Schwab. Oh gosh dang it. Login. Nope. Close. Log out passcode. The app is so slow. So slow. Alright. So who's melting down? Hey, Sears, yes, Sears is up. Woo! Up 9%. No Labs is up 2%. Black Dragon hammered. Zenith Capital flat. All right. So my OTC stocks are kind of meh. Doing all right. Daniel Motes, Cruzy Houston. Question: when GME hits $69, which I think is the low, can you convince your movie friends in Seattle of what is happening here to lock the float themselves? I mean, if it goes down to $69, I think it's possible. I think it's going to take a lot of short selling to get it there. And I wish I knew the actual numbers of what's happening in the dark pools right now, because our volume. What are we? We're a couple hours into the trading day. Our volume is at. Oops, that's not that one. This one here. Excuse me. GameStop. Well, we're at 3.5 million volume, and generally the dark pools are 60 to 80% of that. So that means we have tens of millions of shares right now trading in the dark pools that we have no idea what's going on. And if you have tens of millions of shares trading at $90 or so, GameStop's going up a little bit. So let's say if it's 80% dark pool today at 3.5 million. Sorry, I'll do a little math here. 8.5 divided by 20. Oops. That's 80. So that means 14 million shares or so of GameStop alone are being dumped in the dark pools. And at sorry, let me make this into a million here because I didn't do that. So at $90 a share, they basically just spent $1.2 billion of margin shorting the stock since market open. And that is, what time are we? 6:49. So that's 3 hours in. Divide that sucker by 3. That's $420 million an hour that they're using to short that stuff. So if we're looking at 60 billion in margin, 60 billion, divide that by 420 million per hour, then there's 142 hours of shorting that they can do at that level. 142 hours of shorting. Market is open 7.5 hours. All right, 6 a.m. to 4 p.m. No, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. 9:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. 7.5 hours. All right, 3.5. Yeah, 7.5 hours. So divide that by 7.5. That means they've got 19 trading days in which they can keep hammering the stock. So starting from when they really start getting hammered, when they announced that cash infusion from Sequoia and the other, start with a P, butt plug, whatever they're called, that was 8-9 trading days ago. So we got maybe 10 or 11 trading days left of their cash at these levels. Let's keep shorting it down. That's probably on the optimistic side. So if the Dow can keep dropping, NASDAQ and Dow can keep dropping for another 10 or 11 days, another 2 weeks of trading, then they might be out of ammunition by then. So, yeah, if what they're shorting at is $420 million an hour, And it is kind of logarithmic-ish because if they short it down to $60, then they can do more shares and dilute it even further for less money. But let's just call it another 10, 11 days left in margin that they have to keep shorting this thing down. It's kind of an interesting way of thinking about it. I hadn't thought about it that way before. But rough estimate, $420 million an hour is what they're burning on margin to keep shorting this stuff and to protect themselves. I have to dig in that further. I might have to write an integral and see. It might stretch out. It was $420 million an hour at 130, and then $420 million an hour at 90 means something different. So the volume, you might see the volume start to go up as a result, because $420 million means a lot more at $88 than it did at 130. So they're going to do more and more stock as it gets further down. So if that theory is correct, and the price is significantly lower today than it was on Friday, then we should see a higher volume come out tomorrow if the price gets dropped again. Little math's going on in my head here. Maybe if I have a chance tonight, I'll write a little integral and see exactly how that volume should translate. Because we're going to be buying every time it drops. On paydays on Friday. People are going to start getting their tax refunds soon. Baby, the buy volume is going to pick up. So they're going to have to short more and more and more and more to keep that buy pressure at bay. So yeah, I think we'll start seeing the volume get higher and higher, because we haven't seen 3.5 million shares in the lit market come through in volume in the first 3 hours of sales in quite a while on GameStop. It's been a while. The last time we had that was, how many was it? 16 million shares that got purchased in those after hours when the price went to like 250 or something. I think that's what it was. They're buying like 800,000 a minute or something ridiculous for a period there. Yeah, we haven't seen volumes of that in 3 months. So might be having something interesting happening here. Okay. Yeah, right now, the GameStop market cap might be below what their annual sales are, dropping it down below $90. That's interesting. That should not happen. That is a sign of corruption. Glass number 1 is done. On to glass number 2. All right. And I'm only 40 minutes behind in the chat. How's that for all of you? Oops. Okay. I may have to start skipping some of those folks in the middle here. And we'll go to the point where we are only 20 minutes behind in the chat. Sorry if I skip some of your questions. I'll try to get them as I can. I apologize. Okay. Super chats make those things easy to see. Just in my head, during MOASS, is it foolish to just transfer gains straight to your checking account? You may not be able to. A lot of brokerages limit how much cash you can take out each day. Although if you have just boatloads of cash in your account, you may be able to upgrade whatever type of trading account you have to whatever fancy rich people use. I'm sure Robinhood was talking about creating actual wallets for their crypto, and they promised it back in like September and October. That's going to happen very soon. They have not done that yet, because I think the reason why is that they know that anyone who's still on their platform will make their huge sales, have all their cash in their account, turn it into Bitcoin or into Ethereum or Litecoin or whatever, and then just send it to a wallet somewhere and then go, peace. And it will just drain everything that Robinhood has in their system. So they may be like, oh, that was a terrible idea to make that announcement. Maybe we will never offer wallets. But I think you have a wallet in Webull, don't you? I don't have Webull, so I'm unfamiliar with their modus operandi. Um, yeah, so you might have limits in how much you can transfer to your checking account. I would check with your individual brokerage. It might be like 50,000 a day might be your limit. So you know, uh, it may be one of those things that you have all those stock you sell, you buy a bunch of blue chips for a discount, and then you just change brokerages to a rich person brokerage that lets you just have a check card and just go against all of your annuities. um, Deck P, happy Centurion Rock and Stock Boy 100 shows. Phew. Thank you, Deck P. Thank you so much. Did I miss it? For some reason, the blue super chats never show up until I scroll down, and so I missed them. And I apologize if I ever miss a blue super chat. The green ones pop up, orange and red and yellow, but blue only shows up in the chat itself, which is very annoying. Okay. Daphne, is there viable technology for solar battery vehicles? Not yet. Solar is, I don't know, efficient. Solar is what, like 40% efficient, I think, is the peak of where they are. And surface area is what matters with solar. They may have shrunk the photo relays small enough at this point that they can't shrink them any further. And so the only solar cars that were kind of viable were the ultralight carbon little experimental race cars that different colleges and universities build and race against each other. There was that movie Race the Sun or something like that. It was about Western Washington University. Western Washington University has a really good automotive design program, and I think that it was theirs. I can't remember. But anyway, they build these really lightweight, and they're not very safe. They're like bicycles with solar shells and a little battery on them. So there's not quite viable solar technology yet. There is solar additions to cars. So like the Prius, you can get a solar panel on the Prius that will power your electric air conditioner. And that's something. And then there's the solar panels on Aptera. The Aptera cars. The Aptera cars are kind of built like those solar race cars. It does have a battery pack. It does charge. But the solar panels are there to charge your car like while it's parked, or to add a little additional energy while you're driving along to keep from draining the batteries too quickly. And you can get packages that allow those Aptera cars to go 1,000 miles per charge. They're really goofy looking. They look like little Logitech mice or something. But they're pretty cool. Nothing like getting 1,000 miles per charge, and if need be, you can just leave in the sunshine for a day or two and be all charged up. So that type of stuff is there. But you're not going to get an active solar charge powering a car in the daytime without having battery reserves. It just isn't going to happen. You just can't suck enough energy with the surface area that's on that car to do that. All right. And Project Sun, thank you so much for reminding people to hit the like button and ring the bell. Yes, folks, hit the like button and ring the bell. We got about a half an hour left for today's show, because I got to go eat some of that bolognese that my friend Eric is cooking up, and it smells so good in here. I just cannot wait to get some of that in me. All right. Excuse me. Okay. JT, Hedge is working overtime trying to scare us into selling. Yeah. If you didn't sell at $350, you're not going to sell at $88. That's just not going to happen. Let's do a quick little check here, see where we are. We're still at $90, so they might be running out of ammo for the day. We'll see. I'm sure the buy pressure, a lot of people are like, $88? I'm dumping my paycheck at this. Bullion Z, do you think Adam Aaron knew a correction would happen and thus dumped his AMC shares? Well, I mean, everyone knew a correction was coming for the general market. Did we know to the extent at which these guys would be just hammering and short attacking at this point? Under a system that was logical, no one would be allowed to do this. But if you play golf and hang out at the ski lodge with the folks from these hedge funds, they'll tell you what's up. Oh yeah, no, on January 15th we're going to start hammering this stuff down. They know. They know. John Donson, I have to stop making my Harry Potter series. Yeah, I would stop making your Harry Potter series. You might get a cease and desist from somebody there. Yeah. Okay. The Spy is on fire. That it is. What is happening? Oh, now my VIX call dropped again. Oh well. Such is life. Such is life. It'll go back up because the market's going to keep getting smashed. I do not have a Swiss bank account. Sorry, they're critical hits. No, I don't have a Swiss bank account. Wouldn't it be wonderful? Can you make a Swiss bank account for $80? They'd be like, no. Okay. In Canada, we only have the road. Oh, that's hilarious. All right. Brandon Fisher, do you think this is all coordinated scare tactic? Sorry, coordinated to scare retail into selling because they want retail out of the market so they can recover some kind of control? I think that would be an added bonus. That would be like, wonderful for them if people got scared out of it. But I think for the most part, the short attack that's happening is happening specifically because the Dow and NASDAQ and the S&P are getting smashed. And that they got to keep the margin down as well. And so when this drops 5%, they're going to push this down 20. That gives them a little bit of buffer from getting margin called. And they're going to do that until they run out of cash. And the minute they run out of cash, this is going to keep going. The margin's going to bounce up. And we're right back into margin call land. So this is a last-ditch effort. They are desperately trying to outlast this correction. But this correction has got to go 20, 30, 40 points down, 30% down. And if, we dropped 10 so far, so we got a ways to go. And so if this market drop cannot last or can last longer than 10 or 11 days, then my quick napkin calculations says that the hedge funds will be out of cash to keep shorting the way they're shorting. And that will keep dropping, and then our stock will start going up again. So let's see if my napkin math is correct, and that is how it goes. Okay. Alan Komaski. Hedge funds are going balls deep into shorting AMC and GME right now, trying to do as much crime before the transparency rules get put into place. That's also another reason. They got to do as much as they can, and they got to draw it out as long as they can. So if they have to sell $420 million in just GameStop an hour, right? That's what they're doing right now. And that calculation was just assuming that $60 billion of that margin was on GameStop. I didn't even include the other plays that they're doing. So if they're shorting BlackBerry and Nokia and AMC and Meta Materials and whatever else, then that 19-day estimate probably cuts in half, right? So what's the volume on AMC right now? I didn't check the AMC volume. Let's see the AMC volume. So, log back in. Scroll down to AMC. So AMC volume is at 49 million. And again, if it's 80% dark pool, let's do a quick little math here. Is that still $14? 15. It's at 15 right now. So 49 million. Doing that by 20. So we got 196 million shares trading so far today in the first 4 hours, 3.5 hours of the market being open. So that, divide that by 3.5. So that's 56 million shares an hour at $15 an hour. So that's $840 million in AMC shares that are being essentially dumped on the market, all as liability. So that plus that $420 million plus four. Notice how that's exactly double. So $420 million an hour for GME, $840 million, exactly double for AMC. Huh. That's interesting. So just those two together gives us $1.2 billion an hour in margin they're using to short this stuff for just those two stocks. Add in the other stocks, we're probably at $2 billion an hour, which gives them a 30-hour window over 7.5 hour trading day. Oof. Yeah, that's only like 4 days of trading until they run out. Interesting. Very interesting. I'm going to have to get Girk and his boys the crunch numbers on this stuff, see what they have to say. So, maybe I'll send Girk a message and see what they come up with. Yeah. All right. Alan Kamaski, why aren't CEOs speaking out against the naked shorting like Overstock did? The only CEO who mentioned it is George at Metamaterial last summer. He was talking about how much Torch had been shorted, and he's the only person I heard at all. Maybe he's allowed to mention it because he's Canadian or something. I don't know. But they're traded on the NASDAQ. Or maybe before they were traded on the NASDAQ. He talked about it. So I don't know. I don't know why others don't. You'd think that they could be like, hey, I'm shorted too much, and make that a thing. I don't know why others don't just blatantly come out and say it. Grampy Barney, congratulations on your 100th, brother. Kitsap misses you. Love you. Thank you, man. I'll be home in a week. Yeah, I'll be home next Monday sometime. Like 9 o'clock at night or something. But soon. I'll be back soon. I have to go. I'm doing the fancy train ride basically to Tofino, Italy. And back tomorrow. So it's going to be like sitting on a train looking at pretty mountains all day long and then maybe eat some Italian food and then come back. And then Wednesday be a sledding day. Thursday, I might do some skiing. My knee is really killing me, so I'm taking a couple of days off of some skiing, if anything. So maybe I'll ski on Thursday. And then Friday, I go to Zurich, fly to Paris, and then spend a couple of days in Paris hanging out with a friend of mine, and then fly home. So my friend is making a TV show, and she has to work a whole bunch, so I don't know how much I'm going to actually see her. So I might just be like by myself in Paris. I don't know. Sitting there. I want to go to the catacombs, though. I go be heavy metal at the catacombs. Maybe I'll go do that, because why not? I'm in Paris. What you do? You go look at a bunch of 6 million skulls or something. Okay. Now I'm getting to list claim and listing all the various interstates in California. Aaron Ward, do you think we can expect a nod from RC this month, seeing as it's the year anniversary? Yeah, so today's 24th. Baby Squeeze is on the 27th, which is Thursday? So Thursday, let's see what happens Thursday. Let's see if anyone says anything on Thursday. I'd be curious to see. I mean, maybe hedge funds have like a knife in the back revenge plan for Thursday or something. You see what you did to Melvin? How dare you? Freethinker McJones, I think we can expect Ryan Cohen to buy 10 million more shares at some point. That'd be pretty brilliant. He's got some billions left over. So why not? Sarah Stonks. Hey, Houston from the UK. Hey, Sarah Stonks. All right. When are they going to start covering GME and AMC FTDs in shorts? Got 2 days. So that's... Anyone have quick access? Because I'm on this tiny little computer. I don't have my multiple screen type stuff going on. Can you see what if the short interest, or sorry, the open interest on the yearlies for next January and January 2024, if those have like spiked today? I'd be curious to see how much those have gone up. Because they got to flop over a whole bunch of those reg show locations due to all those puts expiring out of the money on Friday. Okay, L, you have Sears, Houston Wade, why so? I've been bag holding that too. I'm holding it, A, out of curiosity, and B, out of the chance that there is a giant special dividend that comes out of it when they're done paying off their debt. Each month they've got this omnibus, whatever the court hearing is called, where they report like how much debt they paid off and how many stores they have left and whatever. And then they still have like billions and billions of dollars in real estate assets that when they're done paying off their debt, those real estate assets, I think, get sold off, and then shareholders get that because there's no more debt to worry about. And I think that's where we are, is that we're waiting for those real estate assets to eventually get sold. And you know, the rough math was it was going to be like $17 a share. So if you got 1,000 shares, there's $17,000 for you, and that's why I'm bag holding Sears. If it's wrong, then I'm out the $500 or whatever that I spent on my thousands of Sears shares, and that's such is life. But never spend more than you're willing to lose, and that is rule number 1. Critical hits. Cassandra is surely going to pop up again. Yep. Burry will probably pop up. Did he delete his account again? That's kind of what he does. He deletes that stuff. Yeah. Proje's son, Winnie the Pooh, is now public domain, and Ryan Reynolds is poking Disney, says they own the rights by making a joke called Winnie the Screwed to advertise his Mint Mobile company. Yes. You can use the old school Winnie the Pooh, but you can't use the yellow red shirt Winnie the Pooh because that is still a trademark because the design is held by Disney. But Walt Disney died in 1962. When did Walt Disney die? Walt Disney death. 1966. Okay. So we are 58 years. We got 12 years. 12 years until Winnie the Pooh with the yellow body and the red shirt becomes public domain. 70 years after the creator's death. So rev your engine, boys. We can do all sorts of things without Winnie the Pooh. Okay. Critical hits. Don't you like the trading hours in Europe, Houston? You have a day and then you can trade. I know. I can go skiing all day and then do stock market stuff. It is definitely much more my speed, considering I'm a night owl. So, I mean, granted, like getting up at 7 in the morning here to go skiing all day is pretty exhausting. And it's it's so sunny right now. I am just rosy. But yeah. Okay. Jethro, GME above 90 does seem weird. Market correction is strongest the day before Pi-Fi's date for them to cover ETF FTD start. So that's tomorrow is the T35 on the ETF FTDs. I feel like when I start saying all those acronyms, I just feel like a nurse or something. Oh, I got the EKG stat. I don't know. Let's just check in and see what's happening. Okay, AMC is rebounding. AMC is almost back up to 16. And GME is at 94, so it's going right back up. How about that? How about that? All right. Med Material's up too. Med Material's back up to 163. Root's back up. We're getting a bounce here. And what's the volume doing? The volume, when did I last check that? Was about 1 million an hour, I think, is what I was doing before. Yeah, it's interesting. It's all on the rise. It's all on the rise. If I scroll down to blue chips are rising too. Starbucks just went green. Pinterest is flying. So yeah, everything is bouncing right back up right now. So what the heck? The beta is like 1-to-1 right now. Everything's kind of across the board. The graphs for all the stocks, for meme stocks, for blue chips, they all look the same. They got a big old right about what time? What time did it go? It went at about at about 55. What? 20 minutes ago? All just got a big old bounce. Every single stock across the board. So I don't know what's going on. Interesting. Okay. Okay. P. Denny, hi Houston. Hi P. Denny. Different line. I don't know if you talked about this, but if the SPY continues this movement over the next few days, it will have lost all growth from the last 12 months. Yeah, I think it should lose more than that. I think it should lose a lot more growth. I think it should go back to 2019 numbers or below. I think much of SPY is incredibly inflated. And, you can't have rampant supply chain issues. Sales for auto manufacturers down, sales for computer manufacturers down, sales for pretty much everything down. Real estate market getting weird, Chinese bonds evaporating, and then expect, all the stocks to stay at the same level they've always been. I wouldn't doubt if it goes lower. And then we got Steve E now just saying it's $420 million an hour only for GME though. Yes. And then I realized that 20 minutes later. Yeah. Okay. Oh, and of course the stupid chat just reset itself again. And now I got to go back to where was it? Where are we? Okay. There we go. Okay. Oh, you stupid chat thing. Just scroll the other way now. Okay. All right. Okay. I'm right back to 5150 Low Eddie. Hi, I just got 10 more GME shares. Probably a good time to do it. Average down. The price, dude, it's just right now. What is going on? Everything's bouncing. My material's starting to scream. It's looking asymptotic. Microsoft is bouncing back at the exact same time. What the heck? Microsoft was down 5%. They were down, 6.28%. Now they're only down 2.26. They gained back 4% all of a sudden. I don't know what's going on, man. It's weird. And they all happen at the same time. Freethinker McJones, during the standstill period, the reporting persons, Ryan Cohen Ventures, also agreed not to acquire beneficial ownership of or economic exposure to more than 19.9% of the outstanding shares. What's he at right now? He's got 9 million. 9 million is 5 by 76. So he's got 11.8 right now or so. So that gives him an opportunity to buy another 8%. So 0.0876. So, times stupid Houston times 76. So he can buy another 6 million shares. That would take him, or 19 outstanding shares. Yeah, so he could buy another 6 million to still fit within that range there. 6 million at $90. Equals times 1 million. That times 90. So he could spend $547 million to get to that 19.9% by another 6 million shares. Yeah. And if he planned to just dump the order at once and put a window in there for $1 billion, you can see that sucker just rocket. Okay. Oh, free thinker McJones, Ryan Cohn's at 12.9. So my estimate was off by 1%. So I can buy another 5 million shares. Okay. All right. Weak Sauce 870. Have you heard of Sun Hydrogen's technology? Thoughts on hydrogen as a fuel in the near future? Hydrogen fuels is something that can be used in a combustion engine or in a fuel cell quite easily. The issue is, how do you get the hydrogen? And getting the hydrogen, you do a process of electrolysis. So you basically run a huge current through the water. It separates the hydrogen from the oxygen, and then you have to trap the hydrogen. It takes a lot of electricity to do that, and so your energy consumption starts to change from, let's say, burning fuels directly to perhaps coal-fired plants, power electricity, just committing electrolysis on water. Then you get that hydrogen, you put it in a car, and it combines it back into water again. Solar plants are probably a good way of doing that electrolysis. Just do a whole bunch during the day, at no cost to anybody. That'd probably be a great way to do that. Your initial investment is basically the solar farm that would be doing that. But where is the water going to come from? That's going to be a big question. Because where you got the sun is going to be in the desert. The desert's not going to have the water. And you're going to be using up a whole bunch of water that could be used for people and cars. People and farms. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that works out. I'd be curious. I'd be curious to see how viable it is. Toyota and Honda have got a few hydrogen cars. There's hydrogen stations in Los Angeles for them to test their cars with. But the network is not quite there yet. So if you're driving from Los Angeles to, I don't know, Houston, Texas, you may run into issues and run out of hydrogen to get. So yeah. Interesting. All right. GM a few years ago made a really cool hydrogen car. They made this chassis, and the chassis was basically swappable. So you could like put a minivan on top, a pickup truck on top, whatever. It was all drive-by-wire, and everything, all the electronics, all the fuel cells were contained within the chassis itself. Then you just like plug a new top on, new chairs inside, and you're good to go. I wonder what happened with that tech. It's pretty cool. Drive-by-wire does scare the shit out of me, though. I like knowing, like, I'm driving along and I know that there's a rack and pinion, so when I turn, that action is causing the wheels to turn themselves, and not I turn and then some wire tells something to turn elsewhere. That's the stuff that weirds me out about the 787. The 787 is all fly-by-wire, so there's no cables and gears and levers that are connected to the yoke and the throttle of the pilot. They're just like ones and zeros when they push this thing one way or the other. And that stuff weirds me out. I had a truck for years that was an electronic 4-wheel drive, and it gave me the heebie-jeebies that I was going to turn that knob one day and just wasn't going to engage, and I'd be stuck somewhere on the desert. But it worked. Didn't fail me once. That's something. Oh, Grandpa Barney. What? Some say one, some say electricity. Yeah. Electricity, baby. All Grandpa Barney's zone. Grandpa Barney, have you ever been a conduit between two very scary things? I'm sure you got some electricity stories to tell there. If you ever want to do a show, Grandpa Barney, and hang out and go, I don't know, sit in Winslow Green and chit chat. We can talk about electrocutions and electricity and what is involved in these power networks. I'd be fascinated. Absolutely fascinated. Meow meow. Did you know that when you drive fast, your body makes water by combining the oxygen you breathe with the hydrogen from your fat? I did not know that. I did know that apparently you can achieve osmosis of oxygen through the cells in your body if you hit terminal velocity naked. So you technically wouldn't have to breathe because there's enough oxygen entering your bloodstream via the forced action of the surface area of your naked body hitting the air itself. So it's theoretical. I don't know if anyone's skydived naked and refused to breathe while doing it, but theoretically that should be able to happen. I'd be curious to shove someone naked out of an airplane to see if it actually works. If you ever jumped out of an airplane naked and held your breath, let me know. I would love to hear about it. $51.50 Levy. James Webb has 500 miles to go for L2. That sounds like seconds away. 500 or 500,000? It's a big difference. 500 miles is like 5 seconds in space-time because they're going fast by then. To get out to L2 is about 1 million miles away from the Earth, give or take a few miles. And I don't think they're expecting first light until May. So there's a lot of stuff they got to do first to get it ready before it's out there. It can start taking pictures of stuff. Okay. Pacific Northwest Texan, learning from the market. If I use my MOASS gains to buy a view lot and a Anacortes, can I sell it 10 times and then gift it to my children? Quite possibly. I mean, if you securitize that land, why not? You can also do what they kind of did in Hawaii back in the day, which is you get a whole section of jungle, and you just sell it to people who live halfway in the world that don't know it's a section of jungle, and you can do that a few times. Just take that cash and run with it. That's probably the best thing you can do. I wouldn't stick around. Okay. All right, folks, I got a few minutes left here, and then it's time for me to eat some bolognese because nom, 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 nom. I'm just drooling thinking about it right now. Okay. Oh. Grandpa Barney, find me on Twitter. I can't find you. We'll talk. I'll give you my phone number on Twitter. Love you. Lunch on me. Fantastic. Let's do it, Grandpa Barney. Left hand wave. I volunteered to skydive naked. So, to test this. Yes, just to test it. By all means, I want to see you flapping in the breeze, buddy. And put it on Pornhub or whatever. Naked left hand wave waves his third hand. It tests out science. It's going to be cold. It's going to be very cold. So we'll forgive you for how cold it is. All right. I'm not a cat. Yay! Congrats on the show. Lovely to be here. Celebrate with you. Yeah, 100th show. That's a big deal. I've been doing shows for 7 months. When did I do my first show? End of May? Maybe first live show was in June. I can't remember. Might have been the first live shows when I was out having my terrible adventure trying to hide my treasure in my truck blowing up, and then my treasure got found, and then but that's life. What are you gonna do? Except live it. You can't take it with you in the end. That friggin' guy, did you see the class action lawsuit with Plaid and Robinhood? There's another one? There's so many of these lawsuits happening. I don't know. Yeah. All right, we're doing another question here. Let's try to maybe skip to the end and see what we got going. Oh, I missed a blue one. How did I miss a blue one? Sorry if I missed your blue one. Where are you? Grandpa Barney. Crap. I missed 86 on GME. Oh, that's a Grandpa Barney blue one. Sorry I missed that one, my man. Okay. The blue ones never show up top. I gotta scroll down to get them. Another blue one. I'm under David Barney. I have a first name. Okay. I'll look for you. David Barney. All right. Sean Gardner, Houston, super happy for you. Congratulations on getting all the subs. I remember the old days when you only had a few hundred. May you be blessed with hundreds of thousands more. That'd be fantastic because then I could afford a producer and they could actually make my operation slick. And then you would never get a second intro ever again. Ha! Unless I deem it so. Okay. All right, so that's it for me today. Reminder, tomorrow, it'll be a few hours later in the day, I am going to be doing the charity show. I have to figure out what charity I could do with the Tonga Hunga Hunka volcano. But we're gonna do the January Charity Tuesday show tomorrow, probably around market close. That's when I expect to be back from the train ride. So let's look for that, and let's help those folks out. The aid going to Tonga is really going to be interesting because they're one of the last countries not to have a COVID exposure because they're an island nation out there and they managed to lock down. But now they need lots of help from folks. That volcanic eruption was absolutely gnarly. Huge tsunamis wiped out a whole bunch of islands. The ashfall is just burying things. So do a Charity Tuesday best. See if we can raise some money to help the folks of Tonga. They're cool people, and let's do it. Let's help them out. And I'll see you guys all tomorrow. And I bid you all adieu. I want you to have a great night, and keep on keeping on. We'll see how many of these hours of billions of dollars in hours and shorting they can do before they run out of margin. And we'll talk about it more tomorrow.